You know, this is a minor diversion here, and it's going to be relevant to something we're going to talk about a little bit later. I have come to the conclusion that Skynet is a terrible shot in the Terminator movies.
No, it ain't.
Oh, yes, it is.
No, it ain't.
Chad, look at any time Skynet is shooting at anybody that's not from me to you. The Terminators miss like 90% of the time.
It's not missing. It is hitting exactly where it's aiming for.
It's just aiming at empty air.
It is helping nudge people to do a certain reaction to get the future to come that Skynet wants.
No.
The end of the first movie gives us Terminator 2, which accelerated... Well, didn't accelerate it. Postponed it. Postponed Skynet's rise, but made it more powerful.
No, even in the future war scenes, it misses like a lot.
On purpose. It has to make sure the humans make it to the time machine to go back in time where Skynet can be made.
Oh my god.
You don't, you gotta understand that. Skynet is playing, 10-dimension chess here.
I'm convinced Skynet is playing checkers against itself.
And it's losing.
And it's losing. I'm just telling you, it is a horrible shot. And, think about any time the Terminators, have someone in their grip. Why throw them? It can break people's bones by squeezing. Start breaking the bones, and just till you get your way to the neck. Instead it's I'll throw you and hit you up against this thing to daze you, when I could just, clock you in the head and daze you and kill you. Because it's demonstrated repeatedly the Terminators are ridiculously strong. But anyway, this is all going to come up in streaming. You'll figure out why. I watched Terminator Zero, which was a Netflix anime Terminator series with 8 episodes by Studio IG Productions, ones who made the Street Fighter II animated movie back in the 90s, but I think also make the Castlevania series, I think, on Netflix. So the animation was really good.
Yeah.
The voice acting was pretty good.
Did they get Arnold?
No, Timothy Olyphant is the Terminator. So,
ooh, really?
Unfortunately, he's criminally underused.
He is.
It's only the last episode that he really talks a lot.
Oh. You meant in the series. I meant in general.
Well, yeah. I've liked him ever since Scream 2. But, so, he's the Terminator. A couple of other voices sounded familiar, but I haven't looked up the cast. Except I believe Rosario Dawson is the other AI.
You mean not Skynet?
Not Skynet.
You mean not Skynet?
Not Skynet. So, this show definitely, took some ideas. I've been hey, this is what the Terminator franchise needs to do. And just, ran with it. It totally embraces the alternate timeline concept. To the point that there's a woman who's going to have to go back in time because Skynet sent a Terminator back in time. And there's an old woman in the future telling her, she literally asks, what do you think happens whenever you go back in time? And she's like, well, I go into the past to try to change things. And she's like, so you think you can actually affect the present day here? He's like, yeah. He goes, no, you can't. Why on earth do you think you can? Nothing can change this. You can't change the past. All you're doing is creating a different timeline where anything could happen. She's like, that's what Skynet doesn't understand. That's why Skynet's stupid. Skynet keeps thinking it can change its own fate, and it can't. Because everything that's already happened has happened. You can't change the past. And she tells her point blank, what's going to happen is you're going back to a past, and then you're taking off on some other adventure. And she's like, so then why the hell am I going? I can't save anybody here. And she's like, well, whenever you figure that out, you'll have one up on the machines. Because they can't figure it out. So yeah, totally embraces that idea. To the point of, there are multiple people from the future, from different timelines, in the past, at this point. So, yeah.
It embraces the concept of, you're in the past, but it's not your past.
Correct.
It is your past, but you're not making your future better.
The future is your past.
Ooh.
Okay, you can't change your past.
Okay.
It creates a paradox. So, like, some minor spoilers here. One of the characters goes back to the 80s. Oh, yeah, by the way, almost all of this takes place on, like, August 29th, 1997. So, which is why Netflix released it on August 29th. Yeah. Owen, you haven't seen Terminator 2, so you don't know the significance of that date, do you?
That's Judgment Day.
Yes. So, there's a guy in Japan. This all takes place in Japan, by the way. Totally divorced from, like, the whole, hey, we got to stop John Connor and Sarah Connor baloney happening in L.A.
Thank goodness.
So, it takes place in Japan. And there's a guy who's designed an AI because he keeps having nightmares about the future. He knows it's coming. And so he designs an AI to fight Skynet. But he's not 100% certain it's going to because it has free will. And so he hasn't plugged it in because he's like, well, Skynet concluded that humanity had to go. This thing's going to have all the same information. What if it makes the same choice? Or what if it decides to fight Skynet, but only for its own benefit? In which case humans are still stuck in the middle, And so, like, the whole time I'm watching the show, it just never clicked. How does this guy know all this is going to happen? From the future, of course. Like, it didn't dawn on me because he's, like, got a family and kids and everything, and, someone from the future wouldn't do that. Like, they know what's coming. That's terrible. But, like you said, he didn't count on falling in love, so. Yeah. So, he's from the future. He's from, like, 2032 or 2038 or something, okay? So he goes back to the 80s with a reprogrammed Terminator that he has made to understand the value of human life and everything. And so he's based the AI on her. But he has to use the chip in her head to turn the AI on, essentially. Whenever he does that, she loses all her memories. And so she becomes like his housekeeper or something. And he has the kids, and the wife gets killed. And he's very distant. The kids don't understand why they don't want him having like robot toys in the house because he knows he can't trust the goddamn robots. And so then Skynet sends the Terminator back in time to stop him from turning on the other AI. So the Resistance sends someone back in time to stop the Terminator. But of course, the two of them find themselves in Japan, where there's a distinct lack of Yes. So, like, the most the Resistance fighter has through most of the show is, like, a 6-shooter that she has to keep, like, getting more bullets from the cops, because the cops only carry, like, 6 bullets. And the Terminator, like, opens up the underside of his arm and builds a crossbow into it.
Have they not seen any, like, Yakuza movies or anything?
Where do you get a katana?
No, you get a sashimi knife.
Well, anyway. So yeah, so that's all going on. And then the AI, like, he literally has hours, minutes. Because it comes down to the moment where the AI is finally like, well, you're right. Skynet launched the nukes. Everything you said that was going to happen is about to happen. So, like, turn me on or die. Or turn me on and you might still die. So he turns it on, and it commandeers more nukes to stop the nukes that are incoming. So it stops the nuclear assault. But then it's like, Skynet might have overreacted. But that doesn't necessarily make it my enemy. Just your enemy. And the guy's like, oh, Christ. So it takes over Japan. And he has to convince it to join their side, essentially.
Yeah.
And then the Terminator is trying to destroy it because the guy, knowing that he couldn't necessarily trust it, built a massive electromagnetic pulse weapon into the building. And so the Terminator is trying to turn it back on. But he can't self-terminate because it's going to fry him too. So one of the kids, this is where Timothy Olyphant finally has some lines. He's like, he drags him down there and he's like, well, why didn't you kill me? He's like, because I need you. And he's like, what do you mean? He goes, well, I can't turn this thing on. You can. You hate all of us machines. Like, you're the one that sent me back in time to destroy this thing. And the kid's like, what? He's like, look, you've got two choices. Either I'm lying, or you can believe me. But either way, you hate this machine and you hate me, so, what do you got to lose? But the problem is, I'm like, well, wait a minute. Was he lying or not? Did the kid send him back? Like, what the hell? Where did this come from? Thank you, anime, for your constant screwball endings that make no sense.
Season 2.
Oh, it definitely ends with a there could be season 2. Yeah. Because there's one hell of a curveball after that. Oh no, these people already know. Actually, no, I didn't put it in my review. No, I said I wasn't going to say it, so no. Anyway, so it's good. Animation's great. Storyline's good. It's pretty fast paced. Still, like, there's parts of it I've really got to think through because the main Resistance fighter woman comes from like 2022, and I'm pretty damn sure that Kyle Reese came from 2029, which means she's from a future that's like the effects of all the other time travel are compounding, and Skynet gets to the hey, I've got to go back in time much sooner in her timeline because the way they're like, they literally say Skynet's sending another Terminator back in time. They're trying it again, so the Resistance already knows that they've tried it, and that this is another attempt in 2022, 7 years before the main. So their timeline has to be the result of like all the movies occurring and then some.
And then, like, Skynet deciding, hey, I'm just going to send back formula for the time travel and get this going earlier.
Something, yeah. So that part, that was a weird part. So, but anyway, good show.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching. This has been a Geek Cabal video, Echoes of a Whisper. This has been a clip from one of our podcasts. The link to the actual podcast this is from is in the description of the video if you want to see the entire thing, which we obviously encourage you to do. But otherwise, if you enjoyed what you saw, a thumbs up is always appreciated. Subscriptions and all the rest is definitely appreciated. Comments, as always. But just in general, thank you for watching. Hope you liked it. And check out the other videos we have here on the channel. See you later.